What's
What
going
is happening?
How many ringers are you gonna have go off on this episode, Lauren?
Okay. I got it.
Hey. Lauren is notoriously popular, whereas
Hi.
I am not very popular at all. By design.
Yes.
I don't want to get all of those. I don't want all those messages all the time. But anyway, welcome guys. We've been off for the last 2 weeks. Combination of babies, people going to law school, and just general chaos. So
Yes.
thanks for being patient. But we're back. We're better than ever. And Lauren, well, we're gonna get into the normal stuff here, but what's new with you personally before we get into the what's
Yeah.
new in the industry?
I took my baby. So we had a vacation, and we went to the beach where there's no well, it's a little city. It's a little beach city on the coast of California, Dillon Beach. That's a dog-friendly city. So we took 3 of our 6 dogs, and both my girls and my eldest girl's husband, and no cell phone service, and took 5-mile walks on the beach every day, and didn't look at my phone, I think, once.
5-mile walks.
Yeah. It was amazing. Very much needed. And so, yeah, we love it up at Dillon. I'm looking at some property up there because we just love it so much. So that was much needed. And then, the following week it was making the final trip to South Carolina to drop Allie off for the last time for law school. She started boot camp this week, and I cried the entire plane ride home.
Yes, you did.
How
bad?
I did.
How was it like? Do I need to talk to Peter about your tears, or how bad was it?
No, he's like, you're gonna see her in September, and I'm like, it just feels so final. And he said he has 5 extra years with her, and we, because she went to school 45 minutes away, and then she stayed home for a year to study for the LSAT, and so it just felt like so final. And I don't know. Yeah, I was very emotional, and it's hard.
I mean, meanwhile, I have a baby that's just starting to see shapes.
I know.
The physician.
I know, and it all happened so fast. I can't tell you. I can still smell the kindergarten tea party. In popcorn and funky socks.
Glad you can smell it. By the way, I think I have some of Mackenzie on my shoulder over here. So if you're wondering what that is some
smell,
baby, some baby going on my shoulder over here.
It's so good.
Well, all right. What's new with me? Not much. Yeah. We are super busy as expected. I'm excited to get into our technology stuff, but let's kind of get into some of the news, right? So looked at the indicator, and I think the last time we looked at it, or I wrote the notes, but week on week, I think we're doing a little bit better than we were, but we're still down 9% year on year. Yep. But I think we're up week on week 3% across the 3 verticals that are tracked: professional, light industrial, and then the overall market. But still down 9 or 10%. So it climbed up too. We definitely had a weird economic week where we had some yen issues over in Japan, carrying over and causing some wonkiness in the market. The market also rebounded. So I think one of the things that I learned about the market is obviously there's definitely going to be room for panic at some point in the future, but you kind of have to pay attention to the context of what's going on. And also if talking heads are telling you to be scared, then things might be cheaper and will eventually go back up. So that's not market advice, but I'm just that's kind of what I'm just take it with a grain of salt. Why don't panic? Just go do some research. Yep. I'm not a financial advisor, by the way.
Yes. So I would say in these times, no matter what, do your research. Yeah. Our media doesn't tell us the whole story. They fear-mongered us about AI, saying it's going to take 80,000 jobs. And now jobs that AI will create has even gone up from 90,000 jobs to 97,000 jobs. So, the media tells the story it wants to tell. I don't love it. I think it loves to fear-monger. So just do your homework, whether it's the election, whether it's the economy, whether it's any critical topic, how it impacts your life. do your research for the love of
Yeah, there's
God.
some great tools now to tell you like what's biased, what's not biased. So if you
Yes, I read
so
All Sides. It's a little app called All Sides. It'll tell you if this is left, center, or right material. There are some really great resources out there for
yeah, I use
central.
Otherweb.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a good
there's a
one.
there's a company that judges sources called Ad Fonts Media, AD space FONTES space media. That'll give you like where your media sources lie on the scale if you want to go look at that, but that's pretty interesting too. Anyway, not meant to be political, but just to kind of maybe help you guys
I
have
think it's
resources to be
applicable
smarter.
across the board. It's
Yeah,
applicable
just
across the board.
be a
It
smarter
doesn't.
consumer. Because again, I guess in this weird way, politics is consumerism at this point.
It is.
Sad but true.
It
Um,
is.
anyway, I did want to highlight. I didn't really have any. I don't. I put this in the link in our links, but our friends at Bullhorn put out a grid report for light industrial, or spotlighting light industrial. I completely did research and then didn't put the notes in the document that we use. So, is there anything that you wanted to highlight, Lauren, from the report, if you remember?
Well, I mean, no, not in particular. I mean, I think that the 9% down year over year. I think that that's the thing that stood out to me the most.
Yeah.
But I still think that there's some optimism in the market. When you actually talk to leaders, I do see a stronger Q4, and so yeah, I mean, I see some rebounding happening.
That if you want, you can grab that QR code. It'll take you to the report, so you can go look at it. So there you go, guys. All right, and then if you also, well, as you're grabbing that, this also takes you to the SI indicator to see, do your research for yourself. So let me know if you want either of those put back up. I can drop them back into the conversation, but I cannot show more than one at a time in this platform, unfortunately. The world of QR codes, it's just very limited. You want to go right into featured tech, Elle?
I would love to, but tell me what it. Tell me what it is. I don't have it up.
So we haven't done the episode yet where we focus on our good friends at Kylo.
Yes. Oh my God. Can I just tell you how in love I am with their AI assistant? So here, there's a couple things, when you're looking at AI product right now, and thank you for the reminder, Rob. You always keep me on my toes. The couple things that I really love about it is, one, with many of the tools, you don't have control of prompt engineering, right? So you're beholden to the agency. And in some cases where you don't have a good prompt engineer, you don't know how to do good prompt engineering, that is perfect. Right. So a tool like Staffing Engine, where they have an amazing support team to help you engineer a prompt, that's exactly what you need. But for those agencies that want to take prompt engineering internally and be able to engineer a prompt and publish it to the rest of the team, Kylo's AI Assist is going to be right there with you. And Raymond and I have done some sessions playing with the tool. Again, you've heard me really optimistic and bullish about structured and unstructured data, and being able to take like conversational data, if you will, and have an AI assistant query that. And, for example, have I ever talked to Rob about pay? And, give me the dates and times with which we've talked about those things. Or if you're doing counseling, have I ever talked to this individual about X, Y, or Z? I think AI is going to be pivotal in elevating the way that we service customers by being able to grab previous conversational data and specifics. And so I am really excited about Kylo's AI Assist sitting beautifully right inside Bullhorn. I also, from a search and match perspective, I am nerding out over the word cloud that they have. And yes, it's so cool. So yeah, Raymond and team, that acquisition, I think, was exceedingly powerful for them. And Kylo's AI Assist is absolutely worth a demo.
Okay, and we also wanted to talk about our friends over at Staffing Engine in this as well. So hold on.
Yes.
Let's bring that up.
So we are, I love Staffing Engine so much. I am
You're on
part
the
of
board.
I was sitting on the advisory board, and it's because I think they solve a lot of problems. They call it, recruitment acceleration, and it's got so many answers to the top of the funnel, right, where we see a lot of disruption and a lot of dysfunction. So at the top of the funnel, and candidate conversion, and then choosing. I say this all the time. I think I said it in the last live. The agency that provides choice to the applicant and or client that's on the website, a pick your own journey, if you will, whether you want to talk, if you're a Gen Z, or excuse me, a millennial who wants to actually talk to a person.
I love a good agent. I've been yelling
Yeah,
at Xfinity agents for the last month.
right. I can send you right to Teams so you can talk to a live human being. If I'm Gen Z who will engage with an inanimate object 60 minutes longer than a human, I am going to continue my chat right on the website with the chatbot. And so it's the choose your own adventure choices that Staffing Engine's able to get right at the top of the funnel to improve conversion. That and the efficiency tools they have, leveraging operational AI and directive AI to help firms, leads, etc. And then the one thing that I was wildly passionate about is, and particularly with Bullhorn. So if you are setting something up, if you're setting something up, like all of the notifications come via email. So like if you're
using Bullhorn automation, you have the option to add a task to Bullhorn or email notify somebody of something. But with Staffing Engine,
you have engine alerts. So think of it like a Google alert for Bullhorn. So sits right on top
Chrome
of Bullhorn.
extension.
Yeah, it's a Chrome extension. You can essentially follow, if you want to follow a submittal, if you want to follow interviews, if you want to follow placements. And this was created for our dear friends, for one of my dear customers who sent me that gong. Salo, they had a gong process, whereby they would send out an email to the entire company when they had a fill.
But gongs aren't good remotely.
Gongs aren't good remotely. So how do we take the business out of email and put it in the ATS where everybody should be living and breathing every day? And that was the impetus behind, or catalyst behind, the creation of engine alerts. Is let's celebrate the placement, right? Let's do it. Let's have the gong. Let's do all of those things, but let's do it in the ATS. Take it out of email. It gets really noisy, and then when something is really important and you want to send it out via email, it gets ignored. So it's a great way to make a bigger impact with email when you need to, and then take all of that notification gobbledygook out of there and put it in your system. So Staffing Engine
Alerts has a lot more than that now, by the way.
Yes,
so if you're interested, go
so much more than that. I'm only giving you the top.
Yeah, scan the QR code, go to the link, talk to our friends Matt, Josie, Jay. I don't know if Jay likes when I call him Jay Cuddy, but that's his nickname, so I can't get it out of my brain. But yeah, go talk to those guys. So Kylo AI Assist and Staffing Engine are our picks of the week for technology. So shout out to those guys. Lauren, I did want to highlight one of the things I was researching. I was kind of nerding out in SIA, was all these platforms that companies are using. So I went through, there's an SIA list of all of the largest staffing companies, and I gotta say, I didn't do the exact math, but it's 75-80% have a platform. We know TrueBlue has Blue Crew, or right? I got that right. No, who has Blue Crew? EmployBridge?
Yes, EmployBridge has Blue Crew.
And then Aya has their Aya platform. So it was interesting to see all the big boys. And I have to the reason why I do this is because I want to give a shout out to a few people. One, Brian Wilson from the Staff Up app has been creating incredible content. So shout out to Brian. If you're a small agency and you need an app, go see those guys. And if you're in healthcare, our good friends over at Preos have a fantastic app for you. And then I can't leave out my friend Rohan from Activate Staff if you need something custom as well. So there's definitely competition, which is good for the consumer. They all have pros and cons. Obviously, Preos is very focused on healthcare, only healthcare at the moment. So, but platforms seem to be a thing. So if you are looking for a competitive advantage, maybe that's it. How do you feel about that, LJ? You're I have no thoughts right now.
have no thoughts on that. I mean, like, look, the Preos, I think is really the Preos guys. Obviously, a big Aaron Grossman fan. So anything he's building, I'm buying. Much like Kelly Robertson from Broadbean, anything he builds, I'm buying. Because they're just brilliant, and they're staffing veterans, but also advocates, and so anyway, I think what they're doing with Preos is really special for the healthcare industry. And I think it's going to solve a lot of problems. And there's a lot of inefficiency, again, particularly at the top of the funnel for healthcare and for, clinicians. So I love what they're doing.
Yeah. All right. And with that, I think it's time to move on to some guests, which aren't really guests at all for us.
No, I'm so excited about this because these are two people that are near and dear to my heart.
I would like to say that I enjoy being a male in a room of three. I know you're not completely blonde, but you kind of are blonde. But as we welcome our blondies onto the show here, Maddie and Erin, how are you?
We have different levels of blonde.
Yeah, we have all different levels of blonde going on. Got the bleach, kind of the natural and the dirty, all in one show today.
That's how we roll.
We love it. It's
So
powerhouse.
welcome. So
Those are our nicknames.
If you're not familiar, Maddie and Erin are part of Leap Advisory Partners. They are way smarter than I am, which is why I'm grateful to be in the room.
This
sometimes.
is so true. This is so true.
I know that's true. I wouldn't have said if it wasn't true.
One of these days, we will rid you of the self-deprecation, and you'll just go, "Yes, I too am also smart."
Self-deprecation is a great form of humor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're just smart in different things.
That's
There
right.
you go.
That's right. Well, let me tell our audience who these amazing women are. Erin Pittman was the first to join the Leap team, and I have to thank Nina.
I can't believe you didn't say that she was the first to take the leap. That is amazing.
She was the first to take the leap. Oh,
it was right there. It was right there.
So good.
Right there. It's right there at the grasp, and I didn't do it. But in the back of my mind, I was thinking of Nina Eigerman, who made the connection, knew that we would love each other, and she was absolutely right. I think we spent 30 seconds on the phone before I'm like, "Yeah, you're hired."
I remember being like, "So, are we gonna do an interview?" And you're like, "No, you want to come work with me?"
Erin, it took me 4 years before Lauren trusted me. So you got 30 seconds.
It takes me a hot minute, but with this one, I just knew the same. And I know Erin felt the same way about Maddie. And then when I met Maddie, I felt the same way. I kind of, it's one of those things when and they've both found their place and area of expertise within the Leap organization that is such a compliment to my skills, or lack thereof, because I'm really hiring at what I suck at, and knowing where my weaknesses are. But that's what makes me a good leader. So is because I'm okay saying I am not good at that.
I don't have a soundboard because I really wanted to toot my own horn there.
You need a soundboard.
Yeah, no, I absolutely know where to hire, where I have blind spots, and I think that's a good thing to have.
Yeah.
So welcome,
thanks for having us on.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
So Maddie, what do you handle for Leap?
Oh, I mean, how many areas do you want me to?
Yeah, good baby.
Good luck.
Whatever's
What do you want me to tell you? Well, biggest things, visual pieces. So mapping out workflows, I think is the biggest thing that we've brought to the team with our clients. You don't really know what to fix until you can visually see where your areas are broken, right? So actually being able to see the stops in the process, and who's involved, what technology is involved, or what technology is not involved, right? Do we need to add technology into those spaces?
Sometimes you just need more training.
Yes.
Training is always there. Training is always going to be a piece.
We'll talk about that in a second. What else do you do? Sorry.
I was going to say, training, you'll get me started. I could talk for the rest of the podcast about training. And then just in terms of discovery, front office pieces, project management, research, there's a lot of different areas. We all just kind of complement each other and work well with each other in terms of what needs to be done for the client. So there's a lot of different areas that we can dig into.
Yeah.
Which is fun.
I'll say this, number one at the top of our core values, we have a list of core values. And number one is we lead with empathy always, right? And I think that it goes untalked about a lot, that making these investments is emotional. Oftentimes we're coming in, we're disrupting, an organization. We're disrupting it in a good way to try and, determine how can we help them be better. And these two, really live and breathe, understanding that sometimes this is an emotional thing. Remember, your tech stack investment, unless you have brick and mortar, your technology investment is going to be the second largest investment, second only to your people, right? And so a lot of our agencies, our family-run organizations, we're talking about their livelihood. We're talking about their profitability. We're talking about them being able to support the rest of their family. And so some of these decisions, because they are big investments, are emotional. And it's okay for that to be there. And I think these two understand that. And Maddie didn't give herself enough credit. So I'll give her some. She is the queen of business process and everything that tendrils from business process. So whether it's, in the business process, we do gap analysis. So she's really good at looking at blank space, looking at what's not there, because oftentimes, there's information, what is there, but there's a ton of information and value in what's not there. And so our gap analysis tells us four things. It tells us, is this an operational or a process gap? Is this an optimization gap? Is it a training gap, or is it actually a technology gap? And oftentimes what we find is additional investment is not necessary. We just need to relook at how you're doing things, how you're using things, and make minimal investment from there. And so Maddie,
above 20% of it.
Yes. You're only using 20% of your ATS. Come on, let's not go spend another $250,000. Let's figure out how we use what we have. And so Maddie is really, really good at looking at that blank space, helping customers make sense of that, and helping visualize it, because I think that's where customers get lost is, and if you haven't spent time visually mapping out your processes, whether it's for the candidate, the client, or the internal colleague, because they're important as well, you're missing out on an opportunity to do more with less.
Yep.
And I think it can be really hard to do that internally, because you're looking at it from what you know, right? Leaders grow their business off of everything that they know. And so a lot of times it can be really hard to be on the inside and try to map those pieces out, because you're looking at it from kind of from a biased perspective. You're looking at it from, this is my livelihood, this is what I've built, therefore this is what I see in my head, versus an outside perspective can really come in and actually look at all of the pieces from front to back and identify where those gaps are.
And they often end up really connected, and they personalize the process.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Should be removed and just kind of evaluated as part of the business, and whether it's, has any strength, weakness, or opportunity. So
Exactly.
Erin Pittman, or as I like to call you, EP, what do you do?
EP. What do I do? I am the official back office gal at Leap. I think that's probably fair to say. I do a lot of the same work that Maddie does. We really work with customers to provide advisory support. So whether that is helping them decide, I think really maybe one of the most important things that we do with customers, especially after an initial discovery process, is what's next. And I really, really love working with people to figure out, okay, what do we want to get out of this investment, to decide what the next investment is going to be? What specific marker are we trying to make improvements on? And I think I'm glad you called out the empathy piece, because I think that's honestly a big piece of it. Is we end up speaking with people all of the time about their feelings about their work, feelings about their relationships with software vendors, feelings about their coworkers that are making it difficult for them to be able to get technology adopted, things like that. And so I think honestly, a lot of it, I believe one of our customers may or may not have said that it sometimes often feels like therapy, which, I mean, that's a compliment. I'll take it.
I'll take it.
I will certainly take it. But yeah, so I think a lot of, I really, really enjoy the strategic advisory aspect of what we do with all of our customers. And then Maddie and I have so much fun working together. That was instantly I knew Maddie was the person when as soon as we started working together, we had so many ideas about how we would go about accomplishing things from different perspectives and building out a real strategy, and realized that like that, and that's exactly what we then turn around and do for our customers. We figure out like what is the most creative way to go about solving their problems while also like helping kind of give them new efficiencies that they didn't even really know that they needed.
Yeah. And maybe the best thing about Erin is she's really good in the back office and middle office, where I usually try to run from. So I know it's important, but I run very quickly.
But, and what Erin is so good at is that the devil is really in the details with the mid and back office. And I haven't found anyone better at just peeling the proverbial onion until you find out where the break is. Because oftentimes it's layer upon layer upon layer to find one small thing that is creating this trickle down effect in the back office that's consuming time, consuming resources, months of manual processes, and it's one tiny little thing. And
it's a real princess in the pea situation, for real. It really is. It really, really is. And I think that's, I like what you were saying earlier about, oh shoot, now I forgot about the details and like peeling it back. I think that's exactly what it is. It's about figuring out like what's the piece of information that's been missing usually that like causes the most problems. I think that's always the most interesting thing when we ask that. We end up asking customers the question of like, what do you wish you knew sooner? And that question alone like opens up so many things, because you find out that there was information being collected somewhere ahead of back office that is getting collected but maybe not put in the right place. And when that's what I was going to say. When you were talking earlier about structured and unstructured data, that is the thing that makes me probably the most like psyched about the future of AI, is the ability to take unstructured data like contracts, where all of the language from your different customers are going to have different like language in their contracts, and being able to pull out, not that this is not my like soapbox, but if you could pull out details about shifts and rates and like compliance requirements and things like that, and pull it into the middle and back office systems, it's going to be so incredibly meaningful. So yeah, that's my jam.
Well, I think that was one of the things that Maddie wanted to highlight today, right? Is like when we're doing process improvement, sometimes we try to start in the front and accommodate for the back afterwards, whereas because there's a lot of compliance and a lot of things going on back there that require detail, that maybe we should start in the back. And then
Yes.
I feel like it's easy to accommodate creating extra fields in front office to help with the back office stuff and the middle office stuff, but it's not very easy if you don't have it in the front office to get it to work.
Or it's reverse, where you have too much data in the front office and you need to actually simplify it so that front-end users are actually putting information incorrectly, so that the missing information is actually being completed to then flow to back office too. I think there's always scariness with digital transformation, but sometimes it's actually simplifying things for users a lot of the time.
I think customers would be surprised to understand how much the back office impacts the front office. And when there's a lack of synergy there and lack of understanding, that's where the disruption happens. And that's where we see dysfunction of manual processes and ancillary spreadsheets and, additional headcount to, siphon through things. It's kind of bananas. And it's often just because these two things are in conflict, front and back. And so, we try and go like this.
Yeah. And I feel like that's also why I feel like most new technologies are purchased for front office, because the majority of your users are in the front office, right? Majority are your recruiting team and your sales team. And so we're seeing those larger purchases for the front office team, and back office can tend to get kicked to the wayside a little bit.
Okay. So our estrogen was so overpowering, we just kicked Rob off.
Rob had a drop.
That happens sometimes.
It happens.
I will say Rob is one of the girls, though.
That's true.
Yeah, Rob is one of the girls.
He really is. I was going to say I had a unique opportunity, and I honestly think it is how I got some of that insight when I was hired on to be a consultant care manager. Essentially, like the second that the consultant said, "Yes, I would love this job," was when I would take over, and there was no process there at the time. And getting the opportunity to be the conduit from the revenue producing employees who the technology generally focuses on, all the way to the non-revenue producing employees, which are almost always the ones who do get left behind in terms of technology upgrades, and understanding that, being able to see the fear, the understandable fear about slowing down the front office. And so I think you have to really earn the trust. And this is something that I think is really important for us when we're having conversations with our clients, for them to understand they know we get the they know that we understand how important it is for their front office to have a reasonable workflow. They can't be personally responsible for entering in every single detail into the system. You have to figure out a new way of going about these processes, because the back office has to have what they have. But like, I think our customers have to trust us that we understand you can't slow down your recruiters and salespeople. They need to be out selling and making calls and connections and building their network. We have to figure out ways to make it easier for them to get that information in there, because otherwise it's just manual all the way down, and nobody wants that anymore.
Right. So tell me, I mean, look, this team does more discoveries than I can shake a stick at. And so let's inform, right? Part of our job is informing and educating. What are some of the most common disruptions in the front office that we see over and over again?
That cause problems in the back office, or just in the front office in general?
Just in the front office. Well, we're gonna connect that to back office. So let's look at the arc of the conversation. But I mean both, Erin. This is for you and Maddie, right? So what are the most common disruptions? One, just in general. Two, that disrupt the back office. Tell me. Sensei.
Honestly, I think it's a lot of, it's for me anyway. I don't know, Maddie, I'd be really curious how you feel about it. I think it's this is my like soapbox too, like efficiency in terms of losing momentum with candidates that just because you either filled another job or they got rejected from one job, or maybe you just already have enough candidates, etc. I think it's really not like utilizing your database genuinely for recruiters. I think like not being able to have access, and they already did the work. Like you already did the work to get them on board. Like with that, they already applied or they already worked for you once and you could redeploy them. I think really like right now you can't afford to spend extra time getting to those candidates. And so I think truly like the biggest thing is not having good enough data in your system to be able to understand what your database actually looks like and who is quickly deployable.
And I was going to say static data on top, like that idea is static data, right? If you're not actually actively going into your database and updating things on a very regular basis, you're then creating searches in a database to find candidates where your data is going to be really old. So you're not going to have the data integrity there either. And so I think having the processes in place to either reach out to candidates for updated information using automation, or to use a tool like Woo or another one of those sorts where it actually updates the candidate information in your database, so that when you are performing those searches, you're finding the most relevant candidates, and you're not finding somebody whose resume you only had 2 years ago, right? Their work history is not the same as it is today.
Right.
No.
That's been one of my favorite things that we've sort of like realized recently, I think, has been exactly that, Maddie, that like we've been speaking with a lot of folks actually very recently about they had to take a pause. They got really excited about AI and had to take a pause because they realized that their data wasn't up to date. It was not sufficient in order to actually be able. And I know that started really with automation, but I think the fervor that people have to start like adopting AI technology has really like allowed a lot of people to focus and turn back around and go, okay, do we need to refresh our data, or do we need more or less? I think it's really putting an interesting, it's sort of like the thing that people like us are always like, make sure your data is clean. Like, well, of course we're going to say that. It's a lot harder to actually do.
Right.
And so in the course of everyday business, but I think people are realizing now that like you really don't have a choice anymore if you want to get the most out of the investment you're making in automation and AI.
Well, and tools like Vetted, Andrew's built a
Yes.
beautiful tool in being able to take data. He's got some amazing data scientists. So I think he's doing a better job than most on being able to take that data and make something more of it, not just deduplicate. Deduplication is one thing, but really taking that data and enriching it, I think is a whole nother level. And we love Carolyn Durant from Bullhorn. I know, we love you.
Big Carolyn fan.
Giving her some shout outs. But she's loving what you're saying about AI and the structured and unstructured data. And I am seeing there's some light at the end of the tunnel, Carolyn, in that I am seeing some AI tools that are looking at contract information. It's got some work. AI has some work to go. The market is saturated. November 2023, 10,000 AI, 10,000 businesses with AI as some component of its offering were started in just 1 month in 2023. So there's a ton of noise out there. And Leap is doing everything we can to filter through the good, the bad of the tech. But Carolyn, you'll be happy to know that we're starting to see some product that is doing just that. All of them have a little bit to go, but we're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel on some good prospects. So I'm excited about that. I think the integrated VoIP and those transcriptions, I think the conversations coming back into the ATS and being able to leverage AI to query those conversations is going to be amazing. So I'm
I can't tell
excited.
you how many recruiters I've heard have like an absolutely incredible conversation with a candidate, and the notes are like,
she was awesome.
Java developer, lives in Elk Grove Village, and and you're sort of like,
would like this salary.
You learned so much about this person and their children and their family and all. Yes, Rob.
Guilty.
Right.
Own it. I haven't been a recruiter in a long time, but I was guilty of that.
Yeah. I was too, right? I mean, you don't want to be rude, right? So you don't want
my friend. Thank you.
Happening while you're talking. Yeah. So you're trying to listen and engage whilst you're not typing and talking. And so, we use Gong at Leap. And so the idea that actually have a conversation and concentrate on the conversation, engage with our customers, truly hear them out, ask really good questions, and let AI take care of taking our notes and summarizing them and making outlines and all of that good stuff. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Kind of going back to what you said, Lauren, about how many AI tools are out there. I think that's another thing that we're seeing with clients is everybody is hungry to make sure that they have the latest technology in their tech stacks. And so it's like buy hungry. Everybody wants to buy the latest and the greatest. But then there's a lot of overlap of functionality, and also not putting the actual KPIs in place of how to measure success of the tool when you do adopt it. Does it affect a specific user group? Does it affect the whole company? How are you going to roll out those pieces? And then how are you going to measure the success on that? So I think, right? Yep. The more we see the expansion of AI tools, the more I think, process needs to be put in place for how to measure those too.
Yep.
What do we tell our customers? If the vendor can't tell you what metric they move, run.
Yeah. Yep. I really, that was actually something that when we were talking about what's going on right now and what are our customers dealing with? I think that genuinely I've seen customers really appreciating a vendor that they can genuinely partner with. And I know that that's difficult, like in terms of you have to have a lot of manpower to be able to handle real relationships where you are sitting with your customers and listening to their real use cases and their real needs. But I do think when you find software partners that are genuinely committed, understanding why and understanding kind of how does that work with the rest of your process, not just can we do this job description right up for you and slap it in there. Yeah, but where does that fall in your workflow? And that I think is really where things, when you have a partner that is committed to making sure that they're actually making your workflow more simple, I think that that's a big. And when they're listening to when you have feedback that says this isn't working, you can see like demonstrable evidence that they're trying to make strides in that direction. I think that that's something that people are putting a pretty big, like putting a lot of weight behind. I think because it is more investment is happening, but people are still pretty gun shy. They're nervous about spending that money, and so I think I think it's really smart to make sure that it's somebody you can partner with.
Yeah, if you can't, like, I think Lauren hits it on the head, and that's something that I've been stressing a lot of is like, if we cannot tell you what we're going to move, like, we're not doing our job as a SaaS partner. So, our buddy Andre Maletti likes to call it metrics that matter, but really, there are lots of metrics that matter, and you should know those for your business, and you should know those for your software vendors, and have scorecards. Maddie, can you create those for me? But anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have a vendor scorecard.
I know, I'm messing around.
I was going to say I have many different vendor scorecards for all different reasons.
It was a good joke, guys. Just let it land. You all just jumped on it so quickly.
We're solutions architects, Rob. It's an occupational hazard.
I don't know. I walked off camera. Obviously, if you're listening to the audio, there's a screaming baby. You can't hear it because my microphone has good filters. But the dog let herself into my office to avoid the baby. So that's why Layla was on screen for a second, because she was all of a sudden the door opened, and it was sometimes Mandy opens it, but it was Layla just like, I need some peace and quiet, Dad. Now she's hiding in the corner of my office.
I can attest to that. She's got a set of lungs on her.
Yes, Mackenzie is going to be an opera singer at the very least. So,
just like Auntie LJ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom, her mom, Mandy, is also a opera major in college. So
I did not know. How did I not know that?
I didn't either.
Yeah. Yes, she is the Frost School of Music of the University of Miami educated opera singer, French opera singer too.
So fancy.
And speaking of which, good transition. We can end on some good news, ladies. Thank you for the conversation, by the way. It's been fantastic. But what has been your favorite part of the Olympics so far?
Oh, I am an Olympics fiend.
Like, I've never met anybody
who
loves
preaching
the Olympics
to the choir right now. I didn't know.
I love the Olympics.
Prepared for her enthusiasm.
No.
Every single piece. I think the excitement and the joy that I've seen from Olympians this round. Like, everybody seems so happy to be there, and everyone is acting so kind to each other, and there's just so much celebration, which I think is really cool. But event-wise, I mean, I'm a gymnastics girl. Like, watching Simone dominate, like,
she went from crawling on the floor with a cramp in her calf to just, what the hell was that?
Oh,
yes.
Of course, artistic swimming from our girl Courtney Van Epps.
Yes, we've got to
Carolyn, if you're still on, we want to hear too. But
Katie Ledecky too. Wait.
Gymnastics and swimming. Okay.
We need to talk about Clark Kent. And
why don't we talk about Snoop Dogg first?
Come on.
You're talking about Pommel Horse?
Steven, how do you say his name? What's his last name?
I don't know. It's I don't know. Something ski. When he took off his glasses, it was like, here, hold my beer. Like, what was that?
By the way,
what was that?
Cool stat from Courtney. Nice. Team USA.
It's really exciting.
Thank you, Courtney, for that.
Amazing. Thank you, Courtney. We love you too.
I think it's the first Olympics that they have said there's actually an equal ratio of men to women through the whole competition. That's the first time in history. Which is really cool.
By the way, I heard you guys call. Even though my internet's been an issue, I heard you guys call me that I'm one of the girls. So I heard that.
Yeah, you did. Yes, we did.
But you are,
Carolyn. We did. Isn't it synchronized swimming is now artistic swimming, right?
It is.
Right?
Yeah. It was. Yes. I mean, it's always mind blowing. The fact that they can do that is mind blowing.
I know. I can't hold my breath for a minute. So I'm very impressed, and I sink. So I'm just impressed that they stay buoyant, and they could do all those things with their legs. But can I just say, I have it on my watch list for tonight. The first year that breakdancing has been in the Olympics.
I was watching it on before, as I was doing the prep for this. I was watching it. It's pretty cool. The format. They're just battling. They get like half a song each. Or they get two songs. Have a song each, and they can't repeat the sequences or something. And that's like the
Lauren, was that your version of breakdancing?
It was very. It
That's
was.
it. That's my
good.
50-year-old version.
Lauren's
of-
like, I'm a b-boy standing in my b-boy stance. You better hand me the microphone before I bust in my pants. Sorry.
okay.
I'm done.
Oh,
Anyone,
I need.
anyone name the song? Can anyone name the song?
I got nothing, Rob. I got nothing.
No,
Oh my God.
even though it felt like it was definitely.
Courtney,
You know,
Carolyn,
just-
can you name the song that I was just given a verse from? Ah, God, that's painful. You guys don't know
What's that?
Onyx Slam, like early 90s hip
No,
hop?
Rob.
Guess not,
Nobody
which is
knows
a shame. I feel I'm ashamed. I should know that.
Our EP, I'm disappointed in you.
I've got.
All right,
I do have
College
my,
is-
my
his-
Run the Jewels back here, so that
Yeah.
I feel like I do. I should know.
Who want to run it with the Jewel Runners? All right.
That's
Yes,
us.
I'm a giant hip hop head.
Hosting
But-
surfing. Yeah, Colin Jost is my spirit animal.
He's hilarious. Not a clue.
See
Oh,
the
God.
comment about how he's been in the medical tent more than any surfer there because he.
Yeah, he's been in the medical because he has his foot's infected. It's been amazing. I am dating myself, Carolyn. I am old. I'm 41. It's okay. Anyway,
Oh, stop your mouth with your old.
all right,
41.
you 50-year-old lady over there. All right. Okay, Lauren, what has been your favorite? Is it synchronized swimming? What do you got going on? Breakdancing? I know. What else? One more? Or
I don't. It's a toss between Simone and the pommel horse. I'm sorry, but the hold my beer, that was too much for me. It was a moment that I won't ever forget.
he's such a
I will
meme
never
now, though.
forget.
That's so great. Good for him. He's a
It
little
was
viral
so
meme.
awesome. And then Simone, we remember what happened last Olympics. And I think the whole nation was heartbroken for her.
Yeah.
And then to watch her you want to talk about a comeback story? Like, holy moly. She has been, just exceedingly impressive. And that's not even doing it justice.
I just don't think she's human.
She isn't.
She's certainly
a
superhuman.
cyborg. I'm
No.
sure of it. Sure of it.
No,
I hope we
no.
see her again in the.
Like,
in the
and she's
LA
so tiny.
Olympics.
It's amazing. All right, EP, what you got? I hope not. Let her go enjoy and ride off in the sunset.
True story. My favorite part was, if I'm going to be entirely honest, was the little Taylor Swift "Are You Ready for It" intro before gymnastics. I was pretty excited about
Simone,
that.
Love Again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. I'm Carolyn, Snoop Dogg, Flavor Flav have been amazing.
Yeah.
I really
Favorite
enjoyed.
Flav sponsoring
Biggest
one of the
supporters.
teams is the
He's
most incredible
he's
thing I've ever heard.
sponsoring a shot putter, one of the female shot putters, with Alexis Ohanian. By the way, Alexis Ohanian, who is the co-founder of Reddit, the not so successful
Williams'
husband to Serena Williams, also the head of a venture fund called 776, is starting
Love
a
him.
pro women's and I think men's track league, but I think it's focused on women, starting in a couple of years. So that's going to be cool.
Super
But
cool.
they've been sponsoring athletes. They are paying rent, tuition, all kinds of stuff. Flavor Flav paid for sponsored the U.S. women's water polo team as a
So cool.
start, and then he was over there just living his best life. If you're on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, or any of the social medias, and you follow, like, the best thing is watching Elmo and Cookie Monster interact with the athletes on social media. You should totally do that if you haven't. It is amazing.
Does that mean you're in your dad era? Is that your whole?
Yeah,
I mean,
dad
I've
now?
been a Cookie Monster fan. I'm not really an Elmo fan, but I've been a Cookie Monster fan forever. I mean,
No.
I'm a big
exactly.
Ernie
I mean,
gal
the most
myself.
important line in the world is "C is for cookie, and that's good enough for me." Right? I got that down.
It really is.
You're welcome, Maddie, for that. I'm glad you're excited. How ridiculous I am.
I was like, just your dadness just really
Yeah,
shining through
I
there.
know.
Yeah, no, but I was doing that before I was a dad. I was a high school teacher too at some point, so it's all good. But obviously Olympic wrestling. Obviously, I'm watching the gymnastics. Making sure that the girls and the men's soccer team and volleyball teams are doing their thing. So shout out to the ladies for making the finals. They've had 2 hard games in a row. The girls of that team, the Trident, or they actually called themselves the Triple Espresso. They were workshopping that. I don't know if you're following. Trinity Rodman is the best player on that team, but Mal Swanson and Sophia Smith are definitely giving her a run. Shout out to Serbia for almost knocking off the men's basketball team yesterday.
That was
That was pretty incredible. Not only do we come back from like I think they were down 13 to start the fourth quarter. I don't think, and I want to say this, is I don't think people understand how good the rest of the world is at basketball.
Yes, I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
It's one
Very
of the most, like, the number one export of America is our culture, and I feel like basketball is like the number one export of our export, right? Like it is everywhere, and people are really good. So we'll see how we do against France, and then just watched the men's volleyball team. I think they made it. Oh no, they're in the bronze medal match this morning. I didn't see who won.
Yep.
I think the women knocked off Brazil in a hard fought match at the end of the day yesterday that I watched, which is super cool. And then the United States wrestling, women's wrestling. By the way, women's wrestling since 2018 went from like 15,000 girls in USA Wrestling registered under USA Wrestling to 35,000 in 2024. Super cool stat.
That's incredible.
Up until this Olympics, we've only had 2 women gold medalist wrestlers, and our first 2 weight classes in women that competed both won gold. So we've doubled our women's gold count. And then we have a few men that are we have one guy that's wrestling in the final, Spencer Lee, who's a 3-time NCAA champion from PA. And then we have Kyle Dake competing today, who's a Olympic bronze, but like a multiple-time world champion. So he's also a 4-time NCAA champ, which he's one of the rare few who actually can compete, have done that. So anyway, I'm a giant nerd.
Yes, you are a giant nerd. I mean, you give me a hard time for stats. That was an incredible sports review, so I'm just going to give that to you. I
like the Olympics more than regular sports, by the way. So I couldn't do that on a day-to-day.
So Carolyn's comment, Snoop Dogg's overall presence at the Olympics is giving me life. Okay, so I'm here for that. But whoever negotiated his contract for $500,000 a day should be put up. I mean, whoever did that. Woo!
Well, I mean, like he's the dog father. I mean, that man, like
he really is.
Can we say, like, at the end of Snoop's life, whenever that is, like hopefully a long time from now, that dog lived a hell of a effing life.
He did.
He's living like
Rob, you need to play his children's music album.
Oh, I gotta check that out.
It's really great. It's
sipping on milk and juice, laid back with my dad holding me. I don't know. We can make something up here.
We could. Oh man,
as a person who's Mackenzie and Mandy are walking outside right now. Mackenzie is definitely fussy. She's living up to her nickname, Princess Fussy Butt. So we got that going on in the background. I can see it out the window to my right. But yeah.
Okay, Aaron had something. What did you have, Aaron?
I was just gonna make fun of Rob further. I was gonna say that
never miss a moment to do that.
Bring it on.
I was just gonna say that I, as a mom who very recently was called cringe for the first time, it's coming, Rob. Like it's you can keep rapping, but it's coming. My child. Cringe.
I grew up listening to hip hop and R&B. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, well, that is not going to be cool. I'm just going to tell you that right now. The things that you think are cool and that would make you cool also make you cringe. So
I was trying to tell my daughter that that technically cool is knowing what you like and then doing that thing. So that way I was like, tell me I'm not cool. I was like, I am cool.
Way to mom. You mom's so hard that one. All right.
Hard.
I mean, there is a video of me rapping with Erin doing karaoke. So
yes,
it exists.
I have proof.
Yeah,
it exists.
I do too. I have the picture.
Text me if you want it, people.
No, don't do that.
Do not share that without our permission.
Don't do that.
All right.
Only to
ladies, this was fantastic. It is the episode of the Olympics, which I'm glad we spent some time on. It's really. Oh, by the way, I'm about to put it. Maybe like the last thing. I was listening to Gary Vaynerchuk, who's like one of our marketing gurus, right? Like the marketing guru.
Him.
And he was on a podcast called Marketing Against the Grain, which is a HubSpot production, given like 4 pointers for like modern marketers. Yep. Based on his book, Day Trading Attention. One of the things he said is that comments as a creator is super, super valuable. And so I want to highlight a moment from the Olympics and then a really great comment on a social media post. So the Olympic Games posted the photo of Jordan Childs and Simone Biles, U.S. gymnasts, who took second and third on the floor routine, bowing down, which is a really sweet moment to Rebecca Andrade of Brazil. Super sweet, super great moment. The Olympics posted the photo and said, "This is everything." And everyone on this episode is familiar with like hang it in the Louvre, kind of like the meme that people do for like really interesting photos. Has everyone seen that?
Yes.
Yep.
Seen it? It's a thing. So the Louvre, obviously the Olympics are in Paris, commented on the bottom of that photo, "Let's hang this in the Louvre." And I was like, that is a great comment by a social media
Spectacular.
manager. Spectacular moment in marketing. So hang it in the Louvre. Well done to the Louvre for that one, or whoever's running that account. Merci. Well done, whatever that is. And thank you, ladies. It was great hanging out with y'all.
Yeah. It was
Thanks
super
so
fun.
much.
Thanks for having us.
It's so fun.
Hold on, I got something cool for us.
I was gonna say